One, two, three. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Behind the Scenes, a sneak peek, raw and rough clip of conversations with someone whose public persona you may already know, but you have not been up close and personal. So let's get to know him a little more because it's always exciting and interesting to know about who our personality is. Maybe he is your family, friend, loved one, fan, follower. So let's get behind the scenes. Our guest today is a master communicator, a presentation mentor, and a sportscaster. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm virtual applause to Seb Sarmenta.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever time we're catching you through this conversation. Nice to see you again, Pido.
Nice to see you too, Seb. So, how have you been doing lately?
Um, a lot of coaching, webinars, teaching still in college, and mostly spent at home rearranging things, sorting out stuff, throwing away things that are no longer needed, just trying to cope with what we have right now. I'm sure you are also.
So, how is family?
Good. We're learning to live with the children slowly starting their own lives. As you know, Martin has his own family. The other son is also starting his own life. And we have one more, the youngest, staying still with us. And we're still trying to adjust to a family that's separated and apart and compounded, of course, by this pandemic.
If the time comes, would you be ready for an empty nest?
Oh, ready. There's a lot to do. It won't be easy, I'm sure, but there's a lot to do. And the nice thing about our village, our small townhouse village, is everything is within walking distance. So my senior citizen walks will be to the drugstore, to the grocery, to the coffee shop, and there's a lot to do. So we're blessed with a good location that everything is within reach.
Wow. Tell us, if you did not become a sportscaster or TV personality, Sev, what would you have become?
I would have been in the advertising business. I got hooked on it in third year college when we were in school. And then I worked in an advertising agency and advertising suppliers for a good many years, 4, 5, 6 years before I got a chance to audition as a sportscaster. So I probably would be more sick nowadays because of the stress of advertising. But all good and well. It was a good first job. I learned a lot, and I was able to use many of the things we learned in school.
Way back in college, although you're not yet a TV person then, people would look at you and listen to you. How did it feel like you're a campus figure?
I probably had the loudest voice on campus. That's the reason why I was one of our cheerleaders, of course.
Hmm.
My loud voice inside the cafeteria was horrible. And you would notice I wasn't always a major student leader. There were other great guys during that era and some women who were absolutely brilliant. I was a very supportive participant in many different organizations we had back then in school.
Were you in Blue Babble?
Yes, I was in fourth year high school and then all 4 years of college. It was enjoyable. I did many things that you would not imagine. Dancing twice in the opening of the NCAA back then. We practiced with the other schools from Letran, LaSalle, and all the NCAA schools. We would visit the different schools. It was enjoyable. I learned a lot about working with other schools and other people. That was fascinating, aside from cheering for our own school, of course.
How did you study and cheer at the same time and still do good?
Um, yeah, college was easier in terms of managing your time. We had breaks in between classes and we had long breaks. What I usually did was to put all my classes in the morning so that the afternoons would be free for ACIL teaching, cheerleading, other sports activities. I didn't like, except there were a couple of classes later on that had to be in the evening, and then my life would be different because most of the teachers would come from outside and teach in our school, part-time teachers. But there were a lot of gaps, and the library was my best friend. I slept in it, read our assignments there, did papers on a typewriter back then. We had typing rooms, remember, back then in the Rizal Library.
So you had a pretty good balance, a lot of cheer and noise and a lot of quiet.
Um, Too much noise, I guess, but at the same time, it was fun trying to explore as you were growing. We even did plays in the cafeteria when we were in first and second year, trying to build an audience. We didn't have good theaters at that time. The only theaters I think we had were the ones in the grade school, the ones in the auditorium, and so we decided, why not try it in the cafeteria? We had a few plays, not smash hits, but it was interesting to create something in a place that was familiar to all of us.
You dabbled into almost everything. Is that the real Sev?
When I was working, I was trying to determine if I was just going to do one thing. And then somebody advised me a long, long time ago, why wear only one hat when you can wear several? I'm not good in everything, but I like to keep life interesting. You would be surprised. Just about 5 years ago, I did a full season of a play with that one of the theater groups rather in school, and it was fun just being not a faculty member but being a member of a cast. And I learned how to act with an ensemble, and do other things. So part of growing, part of our formation as people is to continue to try different things as long as we are physically and mentally capable of doing that.
But that wasn't your first theater experience, was it?
No, not at all. I went to a school called the Philippine Normal College in Taft Avenue before I went to Ateneo High School. Philippine Normal College had a very deep theater
Oh,
tradition.
mhm.
I think the actors theater group there. I acted in many children's plays and adult plays, and then Ateneo High School. In Ateneo High School naman, it was more oratorical contests, reading, interpretative reading, and more sports than anything else. I'm horrible in numbers and in science, you can imagine. So I was easily bored. But our lit and English classes and Filipino classes were always exciting. The only thing I didn't like about Filipino was pagtutuldik or putting marks before. I nearly failed Filipino because of the busisi for that. I was horrible in that. I'm glad I just passed it.
So your gift of gab has taken you places.
This loudmouth has opened many doors. A lot of people are saying, why don't you be a little more quiet? And I tell them nowadays, I get paid for being noisy. And the nice thing is that I am able to teach, given the opportunity to do webinars, to do classroom teaching, and different forms of teaching, and which we always learn from. We don't just teach one-sided. When we teach students, we also learn from them. So it's been a wonderful experience as well.
Well, in between webinars and work and coaching and everything, you are a Lolo. Is it true that Lolos tend to spoil their apos?
I think it's true if there are two indications. I guess if you see your granddaughter or grandson, you want to spend as much time because it's a wonderful gift because you're able to see the future. You won't be there all throughout her life or his life, but you saw a glimpse of the future, which is a blessing. You want to spoil because you're becoming a parent all over again without having to discipline, and you can just enjoy the company. I think it's a little different now because of the pandemic. We mostly have Zoom and video conversations. And as my granddaughter calls me, Lolo Peb, She has no letter S as of now. I look forward to the day she will have a letter S. But it's a joy watching her grow up and do her crazy little games at home, cooking, and she has a very fertile imagination.
Lolo Pev, if you could, and Martin allows you, what one value would you like your granddaughter to imbibe?
The lifelong passion for learning, the opportunity to read books, watch videos, absorb everything, and get good teachers and get good mentors and friends. Life is an adventure in learning. Um, I think we can never say it's done. Our journey is done. As you teach also, abundance is not only material, but abundance is also in the lessons that we have learned from all the adventures we have taken in this journey of life.
Talking about learning and education, what has been the lifelong enduring influence of Ateneo on Sev Sarmenta?
Doing things well, doing things as passionately and as well as you can. You won't be perfect, but if you give it your maximum effort, I think the excellence will follow. I think we were not good in all the subjects. We just tried. I wish I was good. I was better in math, but I'm not. You just tried and you tried to learn as best as you can. In the areas where we were good at, we did tons of theater. We took every opportunity to there. Um, I emceed shows in college in our quadrangle, didn't know what I was doing, but it was part of the education that I had and kept me in good stead when I started working. I always go back to what can I do better every day. Each day is an opportunity to be better than the day before. If I did one chapter the day before, writing or reading, can I do two today? Uh, Within reasonable parameters of age and fatigue. If we were younger, we would do much more. But it's a definite blessing from the Lord that we are still able to learn nowadays.
A famous line from the Ateneo alma mater song is down from the hill, down to the world go I. In what way did this happen to you, Sev?
Different ways. I went into the communication industry, um, learned a lot, and I tried to continue to be a mentor and teacher to the next generation of broadcasters and producers of events and those who host. It's nothing formal, but I tend to be referred to by my former students and those who are not my students when they have difficulties in their working situation. I have also come down from the hill to do small acts of charity, small acts of kindness that people will never find out about. Uh, it's not, I do a little financial contribution or I will do something of kindness for another person who will never find out about it.
Let's go a bit into teaching. Uh, is there such a thing as a student who is so tough, so difficult? Why is he like that? Why is she like that? To teach?
There is. I once had a very good student, and I told him directly, you're better than me in this subject. I know, I can tell. I've known this, done this long enough to know that you know more than I do. So just fly. But now, respect me as your teacher. Let me do this, and I will just allow you to do the best that you can do. And one day, you will be the one to teach me. And it's been a scene repeated many times. I've had um, when you have a gifted eagle or a gifted swan in your class, do you restrict them from becoming excellent? Do you restrict them from soaring? Um, I tell them respect the position. because one day I will respect your position, and I'm sure you will be teaching me. At first, when we were teaching, it's irritating because your authority is being questioned. The nice thing about teaching older pupils or older students is you can treat them as your children. I got better when I got older. It became more of the uncle talking to the
Mhm.
student, because when we're starting out with students, one, we as teachers rather, one, we want to be um, their barkada, their friends. Then second, we end up being their big brothers and sisters. And the third is we are their mentors, and we are their sometimes surrogate fathers and mothers. I like the third. It was the first two were hard. I learned the hard way. I taught in a school outside of Ateneo, and at first I was still a bachelor at the time, and I thought drinking with my students was going to be good. Then I realized na I had to scold them the next day. And I stopped the idea of fraternizing with them. Only later on did I realize you learn with every stage of your life how to be better. And I like where I am right now, a little older, hopefully a little wiser, and hopefully a little more generous at this time.
Is there such a thing as I had a bad teacher day today? I was a bad teacher day today.
I'm sure you rarely have this knowing you, but there are bad days. You walk out of the classroom, you're disappointed with yourself. Your preparation was awful. You probably had a bad day at home. One time it happened to me, and the late Doreen Fernandez
Mm-hmm.
caught me caught me in that moment, and she asked me, "Oh, what's happening? What's wrong with you?" Bad teaching day. Ay nako, and she would always say, "Just teach again. It's another day. It's just like a bad hair day. So, bawi-bawi, bawi-bawi. You won't be perfect every day. And years later, the students will tell you about that. And you realize and come to terms with the fact that you probably were doing a good job. You just didn't know it. But I don't think we should be conscious of those bad days when we're off. We should be conscious that we can be better than we were the last time around. One thing I've learned also is do not end the class with a frown. End the class with a smile. Many teachers do this. Okay, your assignment next week will be this. Prepare this, submit this, like that. I try to end the class on a positive note with a quotation, a video, something that they can use in their life. You want to see students exit the classroom, even whether it's virtual or the live classroom, with smiles on their faces, because it means they probably learned something.
Wow. So let's try to end with a positive note. Would you want to play
Okay.
a little game?
Yeah, sure.
I will give a pair of words, and you only have a few seconds to choose which you prefer and briefly explain why you prefer that word. Okay.
Okay.
Busy or idle?
Busy. I'm still physically able to be busy, but I love those moments when you're doing nothing.
What does Seb do during the nothing moments?
I imbibe everything. YouTube is my best friend. I watch everything, all the Broadway songs. I watch Lea Salonga. I watch all the plays that I haven't been able to watch if they're available online. I try to look at other speakers and how they do their job well. I just take it all in. Good movies, bad movies, romantic comedies. I love them all.
So you're still busy even if you're not doing anything.
It's more relaxing. If there's a difference between if I was busy and just if I was working, I would be taking down notes.
Mm,
But if I'm watching a movie like Miss Granny, which is Sarah Hieronimo, who I'm rediscovering as a great talent, I just take it in, enjoy it. No criticism, no critique, no thinking, no using of the
mm,
uh, communication um, artistic side of us. Just take it all in.
okay. Would you prefer beginning or ending?
Beginnings.
Okay.
Beginnings. Beginnings of whatever. The ending, you don't know. I think we don't know where endings will take us, but beginnings, I think we can imagine them and try to start well. I know how to start classes. I don't know how to end them because sometimes they will end well, sometimes they won't end well. There are conversations like this. I know how it will start, but how it will end, we have no idea. I'd rather have beginnings.
Is there something within the next few months or next year perhaps that Seb would begin?
I'll reveal this to you. I'm going to Tokyo for the Olympics. I've been hired as an international broadcaster by a group called Dentsu Broadcasting. I worked with them in the Asian Games in Jakarta in 2018, and they getting me not to do a Philippine coverage, but an international coverage.
Wow.
So that's something I'm looking forward to. I'm probably looking at my last Olympics. I've done two already. This will probably be my last. It's a challenging one because of all the health protocols that have to be done. I'm filling out endless online application forms. We're doing a ton of apps, but uh, I look at it as probably most likely, given my age, given the current parameters, it will be my last Olympics. So I'm looking forward to it.
Are you saying in 4 years you might not be physically able?
We don't know. We don't know. But the traveling and the Olympics is a challenging coverage because it's daily. It starts early in the morning all the way to the evening. And it's like having classes the whole day. It's the preparation. Before you jump into a game, whether it's basketball, handball, or volleyball, there's a ton of preparation. Especially now, the challenge is to speak English continuously, to pronounce all the names correctly. I once did a game, Thailand against Serbia. Can you imagine all the names? And you have to master the pronunciation, the rules, the different circumstances. It's a challenging take. I'm looking forward to it. I've been preparing for the last 2 months, and I hope all my tests going there will be okay, given that I've already been vaccinated twice anyway.
So pre and during are both tough.
Oh, yes. Uh, like for instance, if you do the opening of the Olympics, which I've done twice, it's a spectacle. It's a grand production. It is theater, showbiz, sports coming together. And there are moments when you have to learn to shut up. There are moments when you learn that the pictures will take over. You
Mm.
learn also when to put captions and when to say nothing. When I did my first Olympics in 1988, I was horrible. I kept saying the word undoubtedly. The producers in the booth were counting the number of times I would say undoubtedly, and there were probably 30 times that I said undoubtedly. And I've learned my lesson to manage my vocabulary, my phraseology, and try to learn other ways of saying things.
Mm-hmm. Next, would you prefer no water or no electricity?
No electricity. It's easier to adapt. When my kids were growing up, we loved no electricity, especially at night, because we would do shadow plays, and I
Oh.
learned how to do the animals um, and the different characters using different voices. You can adjust. No electricity. It's just hot, mainit lang, and then but no water. That's hard. That's hard.
So you want beginnings and you want being busy and you want water. You might have some parting words for your fans, followers, friends, family, fellow Ateneans, fellow PNC, and everyone who's been part of your life since day one.
So is it a message that I have to give to them? Is that what you're saying?
It's
Okay.
your call. Your call.
Okay. Okay. Life is good. We are abundantly provided for. It's only up to us to take care of the opportunities. There are good days and bad days. The bad days were meant for the good days to be appreciated. I have been blessed. I have enjoyed a great, great journey. Where it will end, I have no idea. I just live it out with each day as it comes. I wake up in the morning saying, "So, Lord, what do you want me to do today? I will need your help all the way." And I say, at the end of the day, thanks. That was great. Even the days that are horrible, I look back and yeah, I learned something. I realize that mornings are always better. The frustrations of the evening and the afternoon are all solved by good sleep, restful night, and then waking up with the sun shining and you're ready for another day.
Follow-up question. When when you ask the Lord and he says something you don't want to do, what do you do?
I ask, really? You want me to do this? Okay, okay. It'll be tough, but take me through this. I have those moments, we don't know, even when I'm on television, when I have nothing to say. I'm prepared, but I am not happy with the way I will frame something. I make that, di ba, in theater, we have those moments wherein we pray. And I learned that from the theater experience. We called it the bilog in Enta. We would form a circle, and it's a moment of quiet before, after all the vocalization and everything. And I talk to God and I say, give me something to say today, something intelligent, something um, I will be proud of. Because when I do class or a broadcast, I never say good evening. I never say good morning. I never say, it's great for you to be here. I try to frame it in such a way that the audience will be interested to stay on. So I asked God, give me a sentence that I can use. Sometimes He'll give it early, sometimes photo finish. Yeah, just photo finish, just at the right moment.
But he always sees you through.
Yes, and I am most grateful. I am most thankful. There are times He will actually guide me towards a path that I have not known before, only to realize that He continues to tell me to learn every step of the way. We're
Wow,
just all blessed.
that's AMDG. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give one more virtual applause for the Seb Sarmenta. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your stories. Thank you for your wisdom. And see you next time, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for now. Behind the scenes, this is Pido Aguilar thanking you and good day.